Oh, this is a good one. Drama in a relationship is not a sign of some epic love story from a movie. Leave. Ooh, yeah. Oh God, my boobs are fully out. Sorry about that. Just wanted to mix up the recording vibe for today. But hey guys, it is my birthday, so I'm very excited. I thought I'd do a little bonus birthday episode. I haven't done this before, but I feel like birthdays always get you pondering on life. Like everybody on their birthday and New Year's Eve, I feel like always reflect on the last year, reflect on their life, reflect on what they've learned. So I thought, why not bring it to the pod? I also asked you guys on Instagram, what would you say to your younger self? And I had so many good answers from you, so I'm going to share those a little bit later on. But yeah, let's get into it. I feel like the first thing you do on a birthday usually is compare it to last birthday. I feel like most people do that. And can I just say, what a difference a year makes? So last year, I wasn't really in a good space. I would say that was kind of the start of quite a bad time, which I'll get into a little bit later. But last year, I didn't spend the day with anyone really. Everyone went to work, but I was like, I'm obviously not going to work on my birthday, so kind of had the day by myself, which was nice. I remember like editing, I got my nails done, got a little bit of Botox done, a little bit of birthday Botox, met my friend for lunch. It was like very chilled, and I remember having like a nice day. But now in hindsight I can compare it. I had such a better day this year. And this year I went into work, guys. I actually went voluntarily into the office on my birthday. Can you even, like, if you know me at all, this would be like the biggest shock to you. Like, I almost can't believe myself. And don't get it wrong. If I did have more annual leave days left, would I have gone into the office? Absolutely not. However, I've only got 2 days left for the end of the year, and I was like, do you know what? I can go into my birthday, and I can go in on my birthday into work. And it was absolutely fine, and it made me realise my first lesson is that it doesn't matter where you are, what you do. If you're in a good or a bad mindset, that will overrule it. So I was in a much better mindset this year, and even though on paper I probably should have had a worse day, I literally was working, but actually to compare the two, because I was in a much better mindset, I had such a nice day. I still met my friend for lunch, and Matt got flowers delivered to my work as a surprise, which is amazing, being like, hope these cheer you up. I know he didn't want to be in work today, but like, we'll have a nice night tonight. He took me out for dinner as a surprise, like didn't tell me where we were going. And the day flew by. We had cakes in work. Obviously, everyone like makes an effort to speak, not to speak to you, but like to message you happy birthday and that. And I just had such a nice day. And yeah, I think that was like my first lesson. Like, it really just depends on your mindset and where you're at. Like, you can be in bloody Bahamas on your birthday. If you're going through something shit, you're still going to feel shit. So yeah, that's lesson number 1. And yeah, lesson number 2, which you guys have actually helped me learn, is that everything passes. And I know that like from all the stories I get sent, like you all go through like such horrendous things, but then you always come out the other side. And I think like for me, looking back, like I said, I'm not going to go into details. I mean, maybe I will one day, but I would say like the start, I would say probably from April last year right up until February of this year was like the start of quite a bad time, slowly. And I don't know if you remember, I don't even know why I'm telling you this, because I absolutely do not want you to listen to the episode. I might have even deleted it, I probably have, and it's probably still there, but I remember like recording a New Year's episode or like a Christmas episode, and I was like crying because I was so grateful to the podcast, and I like couldn't speak, and I was like so emotional all the time. Like, honestly, you have no idea how much I cried last year. I used to cry, not exaggerating, sometimes 5 times a day in work, just in the toilet. Like, oh my God. It was just like, yeah, the start of a bad time, like bad place for myself, just bad places all around, really, in all aspects. And now I feel like so good. And it just makes you realise that everything passes and you can work through it. And I feel like we don't celebrate that enough, because I realise, like, how many times do we apologise for crying? Like, whenever you cry in front of some Joe's like, I'm sorry for crying. I do all the time. If I'm crying, I'm like, oh my God, sorry, this is stupid, this is embarrassing, oh my God, sorry. I'm like, it's not. Like, if you've got a reason to cry, you're obviously going through something. You shouldn't be embarrassed about it. And I think, like, we need to be more celebratory of, like, what we've gone through, especially all you guys that listen to the podcast and send me your stories and go through, like, the craziest, wildest shit that I can't even deal with. Like, I think sometimes because we go through our everyday life and you don't notice that you're getting over things until you look back. Like, obviously now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, like, I went to therapy to, like, help me through because I was so down and stuff in work, and I did this and I did that, and me and Matt have spoken about loads of stuff now that's better, and I've spoken to my friends about stuff, and that's made the relationships better. And it's like all these little things that you just sort of end up doing, and it's not really until you look back you realise, like, how much of a difference all that makes and how much work, like, on yourself it actually takes to get over stuff. So we all need to celebrate ourselves. Like, if you've gone through literally any bad thing in the last however long it's been, and now you're feeling like you're getting through it, we really need to just, like, own that and be proud of it. And that's definitely something I've learned. Like, I can like, look at this last year and think, well, you know, what have I achieved? Right, I've moved flats. That was a big achievement because I really wanted to do that. But I'm still in the same job, and sometimes I think we look for what's the word, like, external things to, like, judge how well our year's been. But actually the thing I should be, like, proudest of is not crying 4 times a day in the work toilets anymore, being in a much better place with my friends, with my boyfriend, like, with myself, feeling just more positive. Like, all those things are massive, but I feel like because they're everyday things and you don't have anything necessarily to show for them, it's sometimes hard to celebrate it. But you know, I always say celebrate your wins, and yeah, I'm just reinforcing that, like, to celebrate all your little wins. Like, if you've got over something, if you've, like, hated a job when you first started and now you go in and you love it every day because of stuff that you've done, like, because of stuff that you've worked on, even if that's just been, like, speaking up to somebody and saying, do you know what, I'm not happy with this. Same, like, with friendships, relationships. Like, if you've gone through a bad patch and rather than just give up, you've made the effort to talk through stuff, say how you're feeling, like, actually done some work, and now you feel better for it, give yourself a little pat on the back. Wow, I sound, like, very deep on this birthday episode. Obviously, I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I feel like everyone can relate. Like, everyone feels the same on their birthdays. I remember my friend this year on a birthday, like, I always feel sad, and I just haven't done anything, like, this year. Like, what's changed? And I don't know why we all feel like that on our birthdays. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can, like I said, you can celebrate the little things. I also think it's so easy to look back at the past and, like, look at your life now in a negative way. Like, people do it so much, and I used to do it as well, where you look back and be like, oh, I was so much thinner then. Or, God, I was so much more fun then. I used to go out so much more then. Like, I'm so different now. But that is a complete waste of time, because where you're at, I think, usually, I know, like, bad shit happens and some stuff's out of your control, but generally where you're at in life, you've made decisions to be there. So if you're bigger this year than you were last year, that's because at some point you've prioritised other things, or other things like then working out, or you're eating, or it could be like, do you know what, I'm not going to restrict myself anymore. Like, oh my God, guys, like, with weight, I never really talk about weight. It's something that I'm always, like, quite careful about, but because I just don't want to, like, trigger anyone, I'm always just, like, quite aware of it, because when I used to do modelling, like, it's not cliche, like, it is actually, like, real, that when you do it, you're just, like, based on measurements. Like, you know, you'd go to stuff, you have to be a certain measurement. Sometimes I'd go to a cast and they'd literally just, like, chuck a measuring tape around me, take one picture, and then I'd leave, like, for fitting castings and stuff. So there's a lot of pressure on weight, and, like, coming out of all that now, yeah, I'm not as thin as I used to be, but I think that's, like, a good thing, because at some point I've decided to myself, right, if I want to eat this, I'm going to. And I'm going to have, like, a balance, and I'm going to run because I want to go for a run. And if I don't feel like going for a run today, I'm not going to go, and that's okay. So there's no point looking back and being like, oh, I was so thin now, because you make choice, so thin then, sorry. Because you make choices to change it in the same way as, like, I can look back in my 20s and be like, oh my god, I used to just go out so much more then, I used to be so much more fun. But ultimately, I'm not in that place anymore. One, because I'm fucking knackered. I'm absolutely exhausted since I've turned 30. I am so tired all the time. And I know I haven't got kids and all the rest of it, so don't come at me. But that's the biggest difference. I'll come back to that. One, because I'm tired. And two, because I'm like, do you know what? I can't be bothered. / I don't want to go into work with a hangover all the time. And look, we all know I still have wild nights and I go into work and I'm at like absolute death. But when I first moved to London, like a few years back, I used to be out 4 times a week and I didn't care. But like, I can't compare myself to being more fun then. You just choose different things. I think if you have that mindset of be like, okay, I was actually a different person then, I'm never going to be the same now. And I think other people look back at their past and think like they've peaked. Like, oh, but I used to do this and I used to go on holidays all the time and now I don't. Well, firstly, if you're that unhappy with it, make a change. Like, I think it's a really good time when it's your birthday, or any time really. But to like, if you want to make any changes to your life, literally, like quite literally just do it. But secondly, you have to understand that like you're making conscious decisions every day to shape your life, and at some point in between, you know, the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you've made different decisions so that you don't act the same way as you used to. So you might as well just accept that and be in the present. But yeah, like looking back at the past, I can't express how much of a waste of time it is. You cannot change it. There's nothing you can do about it. Reading back on old messages, looking back at old photos and like thinking about your past as like the best ever and comparing it to where you are now, it's a waste of time, and also it's completely false. Like, it's so easy to look back like that and tell yourself you're in a worse situation now. But none of that is true. All we've got is now, and you are where you are, and that's it. There's literally nothing else you can do about it. So I think my biggest thing that I want to improve on over the next year is being present. And I don't mean like being at dinner, not being on my phone. Like, to be fair, I'm really good at that. Like, physically I can be present. But what I've learned is, if something bad happens to me, right, I sometimes allow it to consume my whole mood, and I can't be present because it's just like all over me, and I find it really hard to separate from like feelings and be in the present moment that way. And I learned it on this birthday. There was one birthday I went to Barcelona, right? Oh my god, it was such a nightmare. And I had a huge argument. I think I said the story before. It was literally my birthday morning, and my boyfriend was on WhatsApp to me. I can't remember. Anyway, I was on WhatsApp. I locked my phone, put it on the bed, and I went and had a shower. Came back to about 20 missed calls, loads of angry messages, and basically he was trying to ring me, and they were saying I was still online on WhatsApp, so it takes a little while. After you just like shut WhatsApp down, it takes a while to go off. Anyway, so I was in a really, really bad mood, and then by the time I got to Barcelona, I was like, I just want to go home. I don't want to go out. I want to stay in the hotel room and wallow. And my friend was like, don't be so stupid, like, we've all come here for your birthday, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, eventually I got it, but I found it so hard to, like, get myself out of that mode. And, like, sometimes if something pisses me off, or if the vibe isn't right somewhere, sometimes I'm just like, F this, I just want to go and lie in bed, which sometimes is okay to do. And I think you have to have the right balance. If you really want to go leave somewhere and you want to go home, just do it. But sometimes you don't want to like ruin your whole night for yourself. Do you know what I mean? So that's like probably the thing that I'm going to try and work on the most over the next year. And I think the good thing is, now that I'm more aware of that, I think what that's also going to do, hopefully, fingers crossed, is make myself be more aware of how I'm spending my time. Like, the older you get, you realise how precious time is. That's definitely something I've learned. And now I'm like, okay, I want to be present. I just want to spend my time doing things that I enjoy. Have you seen that Kim Cattrall quote? Oh shit, I didn't get this ready, it's just come into my head. It's something like, hang on, let me find it. I think she like tweeted it or something. She said, I don't want to be in a situation for even an hour where I'm not enjoying myself. And I loved that. And I thought, you know what, yeah, like when you get to a certain age, I know I'm only 30, in my 30s, but it's so true. Like, you just realise how precious time is, and if I'm going to be in a situation where somebody is killing my vibe, or is, you know, the mood isn't right for me, I just don't want to be there. So I need to be very precious, I think, about like who I spend my time with. And obviously this is for everyone. Like, I think that's what you have to do, is really realise that you just can't get time back. And I think like when you're younger, you don't really think about it. It's definitely something I've learned like when I'm older, like shit, time is so precious and it's going by so quickly that you have to make the most of what you spend it with. I actually did write a quote down, which I thought was really good. It's pretty deep, guys, but it was always going to be deep on the birthday episode, wasn't it? I think. Okay, I don't know who wrote it actually, but I just saw it online. And it says, time is our most precious commodity, and yet most of us live as if we have all the time in the world. Time is free but priceless. You can spend it, but you cannot store it. Once we have used it, you can never get it back. And yeah, I think that's like the most important lesson. So if you're in a moment, and it's not to say like quit everything, like you're in work and you're on a shit day and you need to quit, or you're going through a bad patch with your boyfriend and you need to break up with him, like it's not that, but it's just like if there's a reoccurring thing like with a friend, or a reoccurring thing in the job where like every day you go there and you're like, this just isn't right for me, or you know, you keep going on nights out and you're like, I don't enjoy it. If it's like a reoccurring thing and your gut is telling you like, this isn't for me, you have to like make a cut and be like, I'm not going to waste my time doing this stuff. Like when I actually deep time, it actually like terrifies me. Like it terrifies me that we're in August, scares me that I'm in my 30s. I'm like, I've still got so much I want to see, so much I want to do, so many goals that I haven't accomplished. And yeah, what I will say is I'm so thankful for this podcast, because honestly, this takes up all my free time, or like 90% of it. And if I didn't have this, I kind of would feel like if I came home from work and I had nothing to do, which is fine, I know like that's fine for lots of people, I'm not like thinking like bad mouthing or judging or whatever, but for me, if I didn't have this to like do when I came home from work, I think I would be so much more unhappy. Like the anxiety I used to have on a daily basis, my whole life, going into work and just feeling like this isn't it, like I need like something else, and not knowing what that thing is, and then finally finding this podcast and feeling like shit, like this is actually it, I would be so much more unhappy. And this is the one thing it takes up probably too much of my time and my thoughts, but I just love it so much. So that's just a little shout out for yeah, like just allowing me to do it and sharing your stories with me, and like basically giving me the content like to talk about. And yeah, it's honestly so special to me, so thank you. Just a little shout out. Okay, so I think that's enough for me. How long have I been talking for? Probably quite a while. Thank you for sticking around, listening to me ramble. Sorry that it's got a little bit deep, but now I'm going to read out your answers. So I asked this on my Instagram. I'm at Sadie Maltby. If you don't follow me, if you're new here, come and follow me, because I ask lots of Instagram questions on there actually, and I share some. But yeah, here's your answer. So the first one says, take notice of the people you are around when you feel most like yourself, which I love that. For me, I always feel like that's mostly with boyfriends. Like obviously I'm myself around my friends, but I don't know what it is about me. When I get a boyfriend, I go really weird. Like my weird sense of humour comes out. Like I can be like a proper little weirdo, and for some reason only a boyfriend sees that. And I don't know why, because they should probably be the person that doesn't see it. Matt will always say to me, "Why are you weird for?" And I'm like, I don't know. I just am. I think what it is like when you're in love, it makes you like quite childish. That's what I think it is. That's my take on it. Anyway, that's a really good one. Doesn't matter others' opinions, let them have it, just be truthful to yourself. Yes, this is something big I've learned actually. This is a big thing I've learned this year, that like obviously everyone says that, but sometimes I think it takes you to go through something to actually realise like you live your life, and only you will ever know the truth of anything. Like, if you're in a relationship, a friendship, family, like whatever situation it is, and you truly have to be, it's hard, but you have to be so sure about yourself and your decisions that you don't let anybody else's opinions or society thinking like what you should be doing to affect it. Because it's so easy to go through something and be like, oh well, everyone will think this, and I probably should break up with him, or I probably shouldn't go back and be friends with her. But sometimes, like, nobody else knows. Well, not sometimes, all the time. Nobody else knows. So I think that's a really big one. And as long as you're truthful to yourself, in the same way as, like, I find some people stay in relationships or stay in friendships because they think, oh well, I should because, I don't know, because this, and because we've got a good group and we've got a good, I don't know, routine, like whatever it is. But ultimately, like, you'll know when you get what is right and what you want to do, and you just can't let anybody else change it. It's the same as, like, if you want to do something, like, on social media. Like, so many people I see on social media, like, oh, I want to do this, but I'm afraid of what people will think. Like, quite literally, you're only here once. You have one shot at it. You do not want to look back and be like, oh my God, I didn't live my life the way I wanted to because of other people that are not going to matter. So yeah, that's a big one. Sorry, that's balloons. I got balloons everywhere. It will all be okay in the end. If it's not okay, then it's not the end. Absolute proof of every single story I get sent. So preach it. Oh, this is a good one. Drama in a relationship is not a sign of some epic love story from a movie. Leave. Ooh. Yeah, I like that, because I feel like that's like another thing sometimes that gets twisted and glamorized, like big dramatic love stories. So that's true. And I've said that on episodes before where really, like, the start of a relationship should be like the easiest. Sometimes it's always filled with drama. No one else has it figured out either. Absolutely. The boys who don't make an effort and don't treat you right is not worth a second of your time. Definitely. Well, we don't need to accept the bare minimum here. We can accept people making an effort. You know the saying, if you want it, we will. So very true. Never compromise your own happiness. Love that one. And that's something I've definitely, like, grown with. My friend asked me last night, we went for dinner, and she was like, do you feel happier in your 20s or your 30s? And I was like, you know, I've been really happy in both. I absolutely loved my 20s. I'm so grateful for them. Whilst I was a little bit of a mess through them, I had, like, the most fun. I took every single opportunity that came my way. I said yes to everything. I went out to everything. I did it all. But I definitely was too much of a people pleaser. I definitely thought too much about what other people thought, and I would definitely compromise my own happiness for the sake of other people and probably waste my time a little bit more. And I think your 30s, as I've said, you become more aware of your time, and you just become more happy in yourself, I think, and more confident, and you don't stress about stuff as much. And yeah, you become less willing to compromise your happiness. So at least I think, anyway, that's where I'm going. I think it just gets better and better as you get older. That's why, like, old ladies in nursing homes are so savage, and they don't, like, give a shit. And they'll tell people to F off and that, because they're just done with caring what you think. They're over it. Okay, back to these. Another girl said, trust your gut. Always, it is always right. I honestly, I will stand, what's the saying, on my grave. That's not the saying. I'll go to the grave. Oh God, I don't know what the saying is. Something, basically, I believe that so fully. Like, your gut knows everything. Oh my God, you just gotta listen to it. Okay, that I would find, this is a personal one. So what would you say to your younger self? And she said, that I would find someone who loved me and my daughter once I left the toxic relationship. Oh, I love that. I love that, because when you're in the toxic relationship, it's so hard to see a way out of it. And, like, again, I've had so many stories sent to me, like, kind of echoing that. And yeah, that is funny. But you can't, you know, everything at the time you do because you feel right. So you can never dwell on the past, but yeah, that's a really good one. Okay, next one. The number on the scales does not correlate to your worth. Absolutely. Again, I know I've touched upon weight before in this episode briefly, but I don't know what it is when you're younger, where like you think being thin is like the be all and end all. I used to look at pictures of my stomach and take pictures of my stomach every single day. Every day. And I'm like, for what? I'm also not even that much bigger. Like, so what was the reason for it? Crazy. Somebody said the Rhondda, which is where I'm from, isn't the centre of the world, but it's lovely to go back to visit. This, I think, is interesting because I do feel like sometimes in small towns, but not even that, if you're in a big town and within your small group of friends, I feel like sometimes it's very easy to feel like everything that's in your immediate world, whether that's where you live or your group of friends, like if all your friends say you're married, right, or getting married, you can feel like very lonely in that. Same as like if everyone in the Rhondda's buying a house, I think sometimes you can feel like if you were doing something different, you can feel quite isolated and alone. And it is it is good to like step back and realise like that the world is so big and there's so many of us, like, and we're all on different paths and different times. And yeah, your friendship group where you live, it's not the centre of the world. Like, there are lots of other things out there and different people doing similar things to you. To not be afraid to make a mistake. I love that. Remember to enjoy the journey. Yeah, I think that's a big thing because it is very easy to get swept up in stuff. I think, to be honest, like, younger people now get that worse because people are more and more successful at younger and younger ages. So, like, when I was in school in my 20s, I just, like, literally enjoyed myself, didn't really think about anything until now. Whereas I feel like now younger people might have a bit more pressure on them. Oh, we've got one here. The job doesn't care about you and won't give you what you deserve. We are just a number, guys. Oh, I love this one. And is this the last one? Oh, it is. This is the last one. And what a good one to end on. Oh, wait. No, I have got... Wait, have I got another one? I'm sure I have, because I'm sure I had some on Facebook as well. I just saw that last one. I was like, I really want to end on that because it's a really nice one to end on. Let me try and find my Facebook one. Okay, I can't find it. Sorry if you sent one to me on Facebook and you're waiting for it to be read out because it's not coming because I can't find it. Okay, last one is, life is never going to go to plan, but it's going to be bloody beautiful. And I absolutely love that. You know what Khloe Kardashian says? Like, you make plans and God laughs at you. Honestly, nothing will go to plan. I've definitely learned that. And I have also learned that you think everything needs to be perfect for you to be happy. Not the case. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. Nothing works out the way it is. You get so many ups and downs and bumps, but everything happens for a reason. I always say that, it's cliche, but I truly believe it. And we're so strong that we'll always work it out at the end. Everything will always work out. We just have to be present, guys, appreciate everything that happens to us, and just have faith that it's bringing us to better things. So that's it, guys. Very, very deep episode for my birthday, but as always. And yeah, I'm going to head out now. I'm out again. All I've done is eat and drink for the last... It feels like 2 weeks, but I think it's been a week. So I'm going out for another lunch. And thank you for listening.